Hello, Maskata Kanaka and Tete Rasta. How are you guys doing? Thank you so much for your patience. Nasi's been such a busy day. I just started off the day today thinking about mom. And everybody's got a mother, whether they are your mother biologically or whether it's a mother as in a surrogate mother. This is the thing that happens, that you always have somebody that's special. I'm playing Toki Vibes today. He sang Kuti Mai, and that's one of the songs that I absolutely love and I absolutely adore. So, welcome you guys. I can see you now starting to come in. I'm going to put this song on the thread because Toki akaimba shakanaka sterek. And what he's basically saying is, I won't forget you when I'm successful. So, today I started the day just looking at because you know what? I had such a wonderful relationship with my mother. She was a very strict mom, a very fair mom, but she was also one of those mom who was mom to so many other people, because my mother was a boarding school matron in the later part of her years. So she used to be a hostel matron ko Marlborough High School, and then I think another job somewhere else as a matron there. So I had to share her with so many other people, but I didn't mind because she kind of got that work balance right. And I think her passion was motivated by the fact that when she was growing up, she never knew her own parents. So she had this burning desire to be the best that she could be, but she had never really enjoyed her own biological parents. So somebody with that really loves from a very, very deep place. And my mom passed away in 2002. So God bless her soul. But so whenever I talk about her now, it's with really kind of positive vibes and remembrance. It doesn't mean that the sadness is gone away. And there's a certain stage in my life where I found it really overpowering and pretty depressing. So in view of that, I thought I would invite one of my good friends. Her name is Trish. She's been a wonderful friend to me for years. And the unique thing about Trish is that she lost her mom when she was even much younger than me. I lost my mom when I was an adult. She lost her mom when she was even just before teens. So I just want to say hi to her, and then we're going to go into the topic of our discussion. Ndati, the subject is mother. Amai, Umama. And people have been really discussing a lot on the thread, and I thought I would bring elements of that in because I put a picture there of our First Lady, Dr. Amai Grace Mugabe, and people were like, why did you do that, and going to town about it. So we're going to have a little chat about it. So Trisha, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Grace.
Okay, welcome to my show, Tete Rasta, and thank you so much for coming in. So I just wanted to start with you because I think your life experience may help other people who've had to grow up without their mom. What is it like? I mean, you have memories, don't you?
I do have a lot of memories of my mom. She died when I was really young, at a time when I really needed her the most. But she succumbed to cancer, and it was very tragic and a very sad time for my family. And up until now, I still miss her. Bless her soul. But I'm just happy that she's at rest now, because it wasn't something wonderful to watch as the cancer progressed. So yes.
Yeah, so no, I know, I never like to talk to people about losses because it brings up and stirs up certain feelings, that maybe you had found a place for them already, but you are going to be speaking on behalf of those people who lost their parents or their mother when they were very, very young. And so in a way, the things that I've been celebrating on my wall, they are experiences that people like you may not have had, and people like those people may not have had, but you find a way to find motherhood somewhere. How did you bridge your gap?
My dad remarried, and I had such a wonderful, still have a wonderful stepmom. She looked after us, very, very wonderful, beautiful soul, sweet spirit. So basically, she just took the role on and took it on proudly, and she was there for us in every respect and aspect of our lives, our needs, everything. She covered very well. So I was blessed to have her in my life, and still am blessed to have her in my life.
That's really lovely. I'm going to ask you to make any adjustment you can so that your volume can be a little bit louder, so that I'm trying to pick it up on my headset and also on my speaker. So if there's anything you can do to try and bring the volume up, I can hear you, but I just want to make sure that our audience can hear you. So Kudzai on the thread says, we share same pain, same way. My mother died through cancer, and the strain never leaves me. So, Trish, this is somebody else who's saying that they can identify with that. So for me, I was a grown woman when I lost my mother. In fact, I was 30. My son was about 2 years of age at the time. So the kind of pain and the kind of disappointment that I will feel will be different to people like Kudzai and Trish, because I had a whole 30 years with them. These guys had a shortened period of time. So why am I talking about mother? Why am I talking about mama today? I think the most important thing is to recognize that, a lot of people will have mothers and fathers, but some men will make themselves absent, or they will move on emotionally or psychologically or financially or physically and leave the children to kind of get on with it. And I'm not doing this show as a way to bash any males, but for us to talk about it as a community, because if we don't start talking about the issues that are in our society, we're not doing ourselves a favor at all. Trish, what do you think about that?
No, not at all. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, it's a process. It takes two people, isn't it, to create a child. And the thing is, because you're in your mother's womb for 9 months, the connection, the bond, already starts from inception, and it's something that continues way after you come into this world. With dad, you will know, and you will know him or his presence through his voice. But with mum, the emotional bond is already created whilst you're still in her belly.
Absolutely. One of the posts that I put is that children's bonds are closer to their moms because the child has felt mom's heartbeat even during pregnancy. Isn't that a very poignant part about creation? That when the baby is now born and that umbilical cord is cut, the connection is so strong, and even through life, people stay connected to their mother because their relationship was started a whole year before father came into the picture. Isn't that so?
That's right.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. So thank you so much for sharing your personal experiences. Let's move on to the issue around the controversial thread. Do you remember that one? So I put on my Facebook page, let me just bring this up. These pictures, for those of you who have not seen them, I'll just turn my camera around, okay? So this is the thread. Let's see if we can do better than that. There's the First Lady. I know a lot of people, they have misgivings about the First Lady, but there she is, dressed up in her nice headgear, and she's on the phone. And then she's got another picture there with her children, the boy and the girl, but not the very naughty one, and her husband as well. And then we've got another one when she's out and about with that controversial gentleman. But that wasn't the point. The point I was trying to make on that particular thread was I said, think twice. When you are a mother, you are never really alone in your thoughts. A mother always has to think twice, once for herself and once for her child. And that was said by Sophia Loren, Women and Beauty. What did you think about that particular thread, Trish?
Wow. I just thought I actually thought, still think it's a beautiful picture because it's showing unity within a family, and all the attention is centered around Grace as the mother. The children look happy, which means they've had a very good life. They've been well looked after. There's been so much love and happiness within the family, and maybe it all stems around the mother, which is Grace.
Yeah, well, I found it really difficult that people were criticizing me for saying something positive about the First Lady. I personally think that she's actually a good mother to her own biological children because I've never seen those children looking dirty or messy or neglected in any way. And, people really took me to task about this. And I think some of this really awakened me to the fact that Zimbabweans, we can be a little bit narrow-minded because just because there are so many things that we find are useful to criticize somebody, you feel that you cannot have the generosity of mind to praise the one thing that she's doing really well. I don't know.
But then the thing is, when people look at the picture, are they looking at her through, from a social perspective or from a political perspective? Because the thing is, anyone is allowed to read in between the lines, and they are entitled to their own opinions. But following your thread, from the very beginning, you were depicting motherhood. You were just talking strongly about motherhood. And rightly so, those are her children, her biological children.
Yeah, and you see, this is the thing about me. I post things on Facebook. Some of them, they are controversial. They're never intended to be. But if people are generating a conversation out of it, I'm good with that. What I found really striking about this is that, if people want to talk about how, then that's a separate conversation that we can pick up in another thread. But just looking at her as a mother per se to her own children, I don't know whether there's anything that was very bad about that particular post.
No, there isn't anything terrible about that particular post. But I think it's now the issues upon issues surrounding her status. She is the First Lady. Therefore, she's a mother to a nation. But then you were not looking at it from that perspective. No. Yet, the controversy came in, with the status.
I think so. And this is the thing, that people in public life also need a bit of space for their private lives, don't you think?
But then sometimes, it's just the way of the world.
Okay. So hold on a minute. Let me really bring conversation to life, Trish. Duchess Cleo, thank you so much for joining me. Hiya, Mori Boyere. You guys on the thread, this program is for you. Anybody with anything to say or comment, please bring it up because we want to really thrash this out. Did you have a mother? What was exceptional about your mother? Do you have a mother? I said in one of my threads, if you have a mother, call them. Because what I would give Trish and viewers to just hear my mother's voice one more time, to even say, Iwe, get out of Rasta, because that's what she will probably say. She'll be saying, cut your hair. What would you give just to have that one more moment with your mom? Hello?
I would give anything, to be sincerely honest, because the time that I needed my mother was the time when I was pregnant myself, about to become a mother. I needed her guidance. I needed her to be telling me, you know what, Muzukuru wangu, I want her to be looked after this way because it's the same way I looked after you. Because a torch is passed on from generation to generation. Mm-hmm. I was robbed of that.
Yeah.
I would want to be that sort of mother that my mother was to me. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult because you know what? You need that special guidance. You need that voice, just to say, Iwe,
yeah.
Or, the thing is with like you're saying, Kuti, you end up with surrogate mothers. I had your mom as my surrogate mother.
Yeah.
When I had my daughter, remember I was saying, oh no, I don't want to breastfeed. I don't want to do that. And in the hospital, and my daughter was only a day old.
Mm-hmm.
Grace's mom came Tete Rasta's mom came onto the ward, and she was like, you're not going to breastfeed mana. She closed the curtains on the ward. she picked up my daughter. She took out, the milk. And then and my daughter started suckling.
Yeah, she put your breast in your daughter's mouth by force, didn't she? the African mother style.
So you see, it's things like that are important, and I appreciate my Grace for doing that, because my daughter turned out to be happy and healthy because of that.
Yeah, no, I remember. It's called tough love, and sometimes some people they complain, especially those vakakurira kumusha, that their mom used to get them up so early in the morning kuti vaende kumunda kunosakura. They had to go and tend to the fields before walking to school, and they had to wash their own clothes. They have to wash the dishes. They have to cook. But what you find now in diaspora is those people who were doing those tasks, and those people that got tough love actually do very well. A lot of people say to me, "Oh, Tete Rasta, you are such a good cook." And I break things down in stages. I would not be like that if it wasn't for the input that I got from my mom, because my mom used to watch over me and make sure that I did everything, and she'd only leave my side when I was proficient, when I was effective.
That's right.
Yeah. So this subject is really interesting, because when we talk about a Mai or mother, what you are saying now is the men are involved, because a woman on her own can't be a mother. There's got to be a man who does something so that there will be a baby who will then raise the woman's status so that she's called mom. So I always like to go to the Bible, as you know. My favorite scripture is Proverbs 31. I just want to read this to you. I mean, it's a very, very, very long one, but I wanted to just explain what I think is valuable, especially to my brothers. If you're looking for a woman who's going to be to whom your children are going to call mother or amai or mom. So in Proverbs 31 and verse 10, it says, "Who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies. The heart of her husband safely trusts her, so he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax." In this day and age, it's about finding clothing. Anenda kumasero unotenga tenga tunu, she doesn't bust your bank. And she willingly works with her hands. She's like a merchant's ship. She brings her food from afar. She also rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and a portion for her maidservants. She considers a field and buys it. So she's entrepreneurial in her way of doing things. She considers a field and buys it. From her profit, she plants a vineyard. She girds herself with strength and strengthens her arms. She perceives that her merchandise is good, and her lamp does not go out by night. She stretches out her hand to the distaff, and her hand holds a spindle. She extends her hand to the poor. This is really important, because it's showing about characteristics of a good woman. And then it goes on and on and on. But my absolute favorite comes in on verse 29, which says, "Many daughters have done well, and you excel them all." A lot of you see me and they think, "Oh, you work so hard and you never rest," and so on. It's because I want to excel. I want to be the best that I can be. And this is what I want my son to look at and hopefully role model. So now, Trish, do you have anything else you wanted to say? Because I just wanted to turn the attention to Dr. Amai, or Grace Mugabe as she's called, and then we can just wrap it up.
Oh, I just want to say, you know what, Amai is very, very important, because she's the one who will hold our hands when we're in pain. She's the one who will help us to celebrate when it comes to the like anything that we need to celebrate in our lives. So Amai is something that we all value. Not all of us have had opportunities of having mothers around during the times when we wanted to celebrate the birth of our children, when we wanted to celebrate graduation. Yes, all the achievements in life, or even when you are down. Sometimes you just need your mother to talk to say, "Oh, unofambisa zvinhu zvakadai so," or "Don't worry," just to be there to support you. Maybe your marriage is breaking down. You need someone to talk to. Maybe your children are are giving you problems, you need someone to talk to. It's always important to have Amai around because of the experience that she's had with us. She's able to pass that torch on to us, for us to pass on to the grandchildren.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a comment here by Tavakunda. It says, my mother performed roles of both parents, so that's mother and father, and made me the man I am today, almost single-handedly. I salute her. And he goes on to say, tough love, Tete, you stole the words right out of my mouth. So I think that, for women who are married or who are with a partner and they're able to raise their family together, that's wonderful. I'm so happy for you. But there are some people who've had to raise their children on their own. Inina, I'm one of them. And I've done my very best, my level best, as Tawakunda has said. But I can never claim to say I've done it all on my own, because it takes a whole village to raise an African child. So I'm so grateful. Yeah, I'm so grateful for people like you, people like my brothers, my extended family, who chip in at every point. And even my in-laws, my ex's brothers and his Vazukuris and everybody else who really chips in, and the grandparents as well. Because without them, to be a mother would be impossible.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah. And then I want to also say the most important thing about being a mother is that you can't walk away. I know that there have been cases in the news a few years ago, even currently, but less so now, where women end up having a child and then they throw it in the bin, or they just leave a child somewhere where the child can be found, or they give the child up to another member of the family and or strangers. It's not really something that we find very common muchivanu chedu, but often when people resort to those sort of measures, it's because they are desperate or they've been rejected. So kunzimai is very important, because you can't walk away from your responsibilities.
No, you can't. You're absolutely right. So I also want to just say thank you to my stepmom, Alice. Thank you so much for everything that you did for me. You helped to shape the woman who I have become, in the absence of my own biological mother. Mm-hmm. But you did the best that you could, and I appreciate you. And I also want to say thank you to Sida for being a mom to my daughter. You've done a brilliant job. Without you, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So I appreciate you. Because you have been wonderful, Amai, and have played a big role in my life and in my daughter's life.
Awesome. Right. This is just such an emotional kind of discussion for me. And I'm sure there are lots of other examples out there. But let's move a little bit and slant in the direction of the stepmother who maybe is not appreciated. So my mom, I always put on my Facebook that my mom is my Salim Mugabe, the president's first wife. And then we had Grace Mugabe getting married to the president whilst Sally was still alive. I think she was having dialysis. She had kidney problems. And there's a lot of controversy about whether or not this was sanctioned or not. I think that is a separate conversation to whether or not she's a good mother. But in terms of whether or not she's a good mother to the nation is where I want to just take this as very slightly. So I want to show you another little video. So just bear with me. And then we're looking at the characteristics of a mother. Because even if your mother is not parenting you, how they conduct themselves in public is important. So just bear with me while I do this very quickly. So this is on YouTube, Grace Guns for Tomana. Listen to this. So that was the first lady, and she was talking at a rally. My issue with the first lady and the platforms that she chooses to speak is that she's not a fumure. And I think this is where a lot of people who were up in arms about me actually saying she's a good mother were in disagreement with me. But I think that is politics, isn't that the political aspect of her career? There's another one here that I want to share with you. So just bear with me while I turn this around. Because the technology, twe join.
You know, dai vangabe vanga vari munhu anorara pese pese. Dai vakazadza nyika inode vana.
Well, Yakakorei, Nitrish, do you have anything to say about this video?
And lovely because the volume.
Volume is too loud.
Yes.
Okay. You see, the point I was trying to make about this is that people will see the first lady's outward performance, and then they will judge her. And I'm not there to defend her. Please don't get me wrong. I think that there needs to be a separation of roles, because the way that she presents Kuma rallies and so on and so forth is very unbecoming. I really think that those people who advised her to go into politics were very ill-advised, because it's a new president, and I don't think she has experience in doing all of this. And even if she had a bit of goodwill, a lot of it is falling apart because she's falling out with so many people. But my issue now is Tete Rasta, is this. The way that she looks after her children meticulously. They're always dressed in designer. They've got nice haircuts and so on. And they go wherever they want in the world, Singapore, Mumaruku University, wherever. Is that she should be taking stock. If it is state funds, she should be actually being prudent, like that Proverbs 31 woman, and saying, no, so expedient, Nemariema taxpayers. Let us use this money responsibly. There are hospitals that need to be staffed. There's also things that are not right in the nation, which are a higher priority than my children. You know, her daughter Bona went and had the grandchild in Singapore. They outsourced the birth of the grandchild to another country. How can we have such spending of funds in such an expedient way? And somebody was rumoring that Bona has gone out again out of the country. Kunoti mwana aende kuskero in the first checkup. In the current climate that we are in, I think those are the bits where people who think she's failed as a mother of the nation are quite justified to say so. In a new foot, I'll add my voice to that, because I think as a mother, you know, behind every successful man, there is a prudent woman. I think that aspect is not being exercised fully. Hansina Mercy, this is a very emotional discussion. I don't even know what to say. Oh, my dear, I know this one is emotional for you. If you find words, just give me a shout out, because I would really love to hear what you have to say. Now, this element of mother and why mother is important, I was just saying to Trish earlier on that, you know, I am a very good mother because I had a very good example. And if I was failing, I would just see my mother turning in her grave. So I always do as much as I can to make sure that there's nothing that can take away from the good example that my mother gave me. And then some of the challenges that we face trying to be the best Umama is you have to work. You've got to hustle, and you experience so many pressures, especially if you live in diaspora. What's your take on that one, Trish?
When you live in diaspora, thank you, Tete Rasta. When you live in diaspora, things because you're an alien in another man's land. So sometimes you find, you know, what you are aiming for or trying to do, to look after a child who is back home. People who are back home will not will not understand because they're not experiencing what you're experiencing. Maybe trying to make ends meet. Most of the people that are in diaspora, you find that they've got children who are back home because they're not able to have their children here for one reason or another.
Yeah.
So they're separated from them through to circumstances or by choice.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not really there to cater for my needs emwana firsthand. So you entrust individuals or guardians who are going to be looking after those children on your behalf. With the way things are in Zimbabwe at this moment in time, diaspora experience firsthand what those people are experiencing. So you will put money together, you will send money home for specific reasons that should have been given. Maybe school fees, it may be trips, it can be
clothes or food, yeah.
Yeah, it can be for anything really. But how those funds are used, you are not there, to actually dictate and direct the usage of those funds. And they can end up being directed to other things.
Yeah.
Which they deem as a priority.
Absolutely. And now the latest one is with this cash crisis in quotations. People are sending money with Western Union and other providers, but they're not able to get all the money all at once. So their money is potentially at risk. And then just changing subject a little bit is that, the attitude of Grace Mugabe is one of the things I think people caused people to throw stones at me. Was that, a lot of her children have left the country. The diaspora was created by the difficulty of the situation in Zimbabwe for all manner of reasons. But you find them saying, vanhu vari kuabroad tiri kugeza tiri kukwenya chembere musana, and really putting people down for being out of the country. I don't think that's a very motherly thing to do. So for those people that are very critical of her in terms of poor performance of her as the mother of the nation, I think Ipapapo, you've got a very, very good point. And the other thing is, when you get married, you marry the whole family. So with any marriage, any second wife is always under scrutiny. I have not become a second wife anywhere yet, but say somebody was divorced and then you're coming as the new wife, you've got to integrate your children and his children and integrate all the in-laws and the outlaws and your laws to try and make it work. And that's where people who want to be a good mother will see challenges, because one of the things that I find, everybody's read the book Cinderella. You've got the evil stepmother who favors her children, but then the children that are already in the homestead are not treated as well as that she possibly can treat them. What do you think about that one in terms of what we can do better as a community, Trish?
I think, what? They always say the charity begins at home.
Yeah.
And they also say, do unto others what you want done to you or for you.
Yes.
Right. So if, for example, I am to become a stepmother, I already have my own child.
Yeah.
I know how I want her to turn out. I grew up, this in Amai, I'm stepping in to shoes that were already there. So I'm filling in shoes, someone else's shoes, to carry to carry forward.
Yeah.
It's not an easy task. Your attitude and your sense of responsibility as a woman should kick in. You now need to be aware of the fact who are also, because wherever you are or wherever you go, I always believe You know, it's not just about being a stepmother, Grace.
Yeah.
You know, or being a surrogate mother.
Yeah.
As long as you are a mother to any child that you come across.
That's so true.
If you see mwana arikuna cross a road ari ega, mother instinct, kick her in.
Yeah, you
will run and you will hold the child's hand before they cross the road,
and
even though it's not a child.
Absolutely.
Because every child is your child.
That is what we call Ubuntu. I am because we are.
Yes.
Absolutely. I agree.
So basically, it's the same thing. Even if I step into a role, yes, stepmother, that's the first thing that should kick in, because that is a personal attitude. That's your personality. Ndokuumbwa kwakaitwa, ndo character yakaumbwa nayo na mai vako.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're so right. I think just going back to the thread, I don't know, Trish, if there's anything you saw on the thread that you want to pick up on, but I wanted to go back to my brother John. He was my main critic this morning. I absolutely enjoyed tussling with him. He said, when I put the pictures up, he said, so what are you portraying here? And I said to him, what do you see here? Is what is more important? So whenever I post things on my Facebook page or anywhere else, you need to be thinking for yourself, because I'm not an authority. I'm not a God. If you agree with me, you say so. If you disagree with me, put your argument there. But there's never a reason to be swearing at people or being abusive. After all, I've never been to the State House. I've never seen Grace Mugabe, but I've seen that from a distance. She was not all that she is in this decade. There was a time that she was so humble and caring for that old man, and she had the kids. Yes, the Sally issue and debacle happened, but moyo muti unomera kwa unoda. And I understand that she was not happily married in her first marriage as well. I know that people will say, this man stole somebody else's wife. Yes, that may have happened. But maybe she was an abused wife. She was somebody who was battered, so he rescued the situation. Whether or not is right, be the first one to throw stones if your life is so perfect. So what I've seen of her parenting skills to her own biological children is what I was making comment of. Her character and her person and her personality is what the president chose. We are now seeing the outcome and the result of all of what has happened. But at the end of the day, she is a mother like any other mother, and I'm sure she's trying to do the best that she can for her children. For me, the critical bit is that she puts her children's welfare above the welfare of the nation. And some of the state funds that are being directed and redirected to her own personal gains should not be done in that way. So what I want to just clarify and make sure that network yabata is this. When my brothers murusarudza madzimai, make sure that you're going to find somebody who does not come or spoil dzinza, somebody who messes the genealogy. Because once you've got those genes in your household, they're there to stay. Pane vakadzi inunja musha, especially vane behaviors evamwe vanhu vatiri kutaura, vane psychopaths nema sociopathic tendencies nevane gold digging tendencies, because they're going to make you work so hard. You're going to sell your life and soul and your last breath to provide for them, and their appetites will be insatiable. You know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Then we've got other examples of women out there who are so humble. They come in, they're not demanding. You have to take a responsibility to provide over and above what the person asks for, because there are some people who don't want to bother you or to trouble you, but never be in a situation where you have to rob or to kill anyone or to do foul play in order to provide, because that is not worth it and that is not worthwhile. And there are a lot of people who are committing crimes and who are doing things that are not right, that then affect the next generation. So you are planting seeds for your children even after you've gone. You know what I mean? You have a whole bunch of kids who are unpopular. So being a mother is also about, for the women now, speaking to the women, it's also about exercising a restraint on your loved one. If your husband or your partner is doing things that are not going to build your future generations, mudzore, sweetheart, kutadi kudai so. Sweetheart, let's not fly out of the country to Singapore for 6 months. Mari iyoyo imboshandiswa kubhadhara vashandi vari kugara vasingabhadharwi. That kind of thing, ndokuvaka, ndo the virtuous woman of Proverbs 31. I think pane nyaya yaDr. Amai, I'm done there. I rather like her fashion sense, actually. I think she gave Zimbabwean women, even us, kamwe kastaira kaike kuti I want to dress up. I'm not a Gucci Grace, by the way, but I try to spend the best that I can on the things that I want because I only buy once. And I think that little spirit of I want to look good came from there. People will be saying, oh, you rock my locks. She actually rocked her hair natural. She in that regard, her appearance was aesthetically pleasing because she actually made it fashionable to be in your own natural hair, whereas a lot of people are copying other people and putting on other people's hair. There's nothing wrong with that. But when I was young, I used to think there was something wrong with my hair, and I always put something to cover it. But it gave me a sense of confidence to say, oh, if the first lady can do this, I would do that. You guys love my picture when I'm wearing my banzi. That was a copycat to Salim Mugabe. So I'm always looking around and looking for role models. But when I look at an individual, I say, what is it about that person that I like? I take that. If there's anything that I don't like, I separate the issues. If there's any behavior that I don't like, I separate the issues. So please, don't try to coerce me to write off everything about anybody that the majority do not like. There's inherent good in everybody. Even if you examine me, there are certain things that are really good about me, and there are certain things that you say, oh, that woman, and you'll be unhappy with. Right, Trish, thank you so much for being my guest. You've been absolutely wonderful. Any parting words?
Oh, I just want to say thank you, Tete Rasta. It's been a pleasure being on the show. Pamberina Amai.
One last question. Do you think a woman's place is in the kitchen? Just going off topic a little bit.
Well, it starts off in the kitchen.
Uh-huh.
But it doesn't end there.
Yes. In any genre, I'm happiest in the kitchen. I'm just waiting for the time when somebody will pack me in the kitchen because I actually still dream about being a housewife. So the last comment on our thread is from Sam. He said, common sense is not that common. Ha 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 ha. So I think on that parting gift of humor, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Enjoy your mother, especially if your biological mother is still alive. Even if you've got my gurus, like I've got my guru, she's somewhere pottering around Kumaruzeva uko. My mom's older sister, I haven't spoken to her for a little while. I really need to phone her because she's the lasting image of my mother. And when I see her, she's so loving towards me. And she cooks like how my mom cooked. And she's got all the little stories from when I was very young. So we as Shona people will never not have somebody who you can call mother because we have that in our social fabric that, your mother's siblings are all your mothers. So even though your parents might have passed away, those people are still there to be a surrogate and as mentors. So have a wonderful day. I hope today's subject hasn't been too difficult. For those of you who didn't like it, shoot me. Goodbye, Siyabonga. Salute.